In April, I took a trip with my good friend Sergio, who is a rural pastor who oversees rural churches, to visit 6 churches on the road out on the mountains to the far south of our city of Sucre. I asked Sergio, what can I do to prepare? And he told me about how new denominations are coming into the villages and unsettling the established believers. He talked about new practices such as putting a veil on the head of women so they could pray, how it was necessary to fast if people could come close to God, and other such practices. And that very much reminded me of the Apostle Paul and how he wrote the epistles whilst he was in prison, wrote the epistles and said to them that all they needed was Christ, and that Christ was far above all spiritual power and authority. And if they were in Christ, they didn't need to do anything more to get close to God. And so that was the message I took from Galatians, Colossians, and Philippians. And I used various oral Bible teaching methods, including story, sketch, drawings, various visual aids, and monologues and dialogues in order to ram the message home that Christ was sufficient. Here am I doing my impression of the Apostle Paul, talking about his imprisonment in Rome and how he longed to be taken in front of Caesar to talk about Christ to Caesar. So the message was well received. Some people said that they had already suffered from trials as these sects and other new denominations were working amongst them. Meanwhile, it was clear that other people still remain vulnerable to being drawn aside from their current churches. So please pray for the mountain churches that we'd be able to go back. We had a wonderful time. It was a time of great fellowship. We saw some amazing sights, including a pair of mating condors fighting off a group of carrion, as well as receiving lots of extraordinary gifts.